Well, I'm not completely out of the loop on the slang used by our youth today, but I am usually about 5 or 6 years behind, which I guess means I'm completely out of the loop. Anyway, the point is that I had something else in mind entirely when I heard about the new viral TikTok trend that involves people, quote, raw dogging on airplanes. GQ had this headline yesterday: why men are raw dogging flights. The New York Post reported on the same day, men are raw dogging it on flights. Here's what the weird travel trend means. Now, like you, I assumed that this meant some major FAA violations were happening on board. I thought that the friendly skies were getting way, way too friendly, but that's not what this trend refers to. Here's the Post article, quote, raw dogging has become the buzziest travel trend of the summer, seeing stealth plane passengers forego the modern comforts of flying to stare at either the in-flight map or nothing at all during lengthy trips. No music, no streaming, no snacking, no sleep. Quote, I have never seen so many people raw dogging a flight in my life, wrote Michelle, a stunned New York-based beauty influencer, in the closed caption of a TikTok clip. Literally just staring straight ahead the entire time. She added in the video featuring an aircraft full of jet setters enjoying a journey sans distractions. This was a 5-hour flight from New York City to San Francisco. So that is raw dogging a flight. That is the trend that's sweeping the nation. A trend that has attracted multiple headlines in major media publications, not to mention hundreds of TikTok videos with millions of views between them. And the videos all consist of people filming themselves not doing anything on a flight. Usually the video is set to music that is way too fast-paced and intense given the theme of the video. Like this, watch.
Get it, 17. They don't know me, son. Get it, 18. They don't know me, son. Get it, 19.
So that's the trend. Sitting in a place and not doing anything. Sitting and simply existing. Being a person. Being present in the space you're physically occupying. Even that we now call a trend. And worse, the trend is given an unnecessarily sexual name. So now anyone who sits on a plane and waits for it to land is, whether they like it or not, participating in something that sounds like a sex act. Now, if you're sitting on a plane, minding your own business, literally doing nothing, you might have somebody come up to you and ask if you enjoy raw dogging. Like, that's a thing that might happen. And then you might say yes because you thought they were referring to this, when really they might have meant the other thing, and now you're accidentally in the middle of an inappropriate conversation you didn't mean to have. This is why I have complained so many times about the modern habit of taking normal human activities and trendifying them. We've made it so that there are no more normal human activities. Everything is a trend. Everything's a TikTok craze. Everything you do has some cutesy label attached to it. Every activity, every habit, every tendency, every personality trait, they all have labels. We have carved ourselves up, carved our lives up, and put each piece into a little box and a little drawer with its own little label. It's the hyper-classification of human existence. And this is a problem that started with the medical field and the psychologists, but has bled its way down into social media. I hate it. Everybody needs to stop it. Now, as for this trend, it will not surprise you to learn that this is often what I do on flights. Unless I have work to do, I will just sit on the plane. I don't call it raw dogging, okay? I don't use that term. I've already used that term in this monologue like 5 times more than I ever thought I'd use it in my life, especially in a monologue. But whatever you want to call it, I am an avid proponent of finding opportunities to do nothing. And I mean really nothing, real nothing, okay? Not something that amounts to nothing, like mindlessly scrolling your phone. We all do that kind of nothing all the time. That's worse than nothing, okay? It's nothing with none of the benefits of nothing. But actually doing nothing means sitting in one place and not actively looking for distraction or stimulation. In modern society, we spend pretty much every waking second of our days actively seeking distraction and stimulation. We desperately try to distract ourselves all the time, and then we wonder why we're distracted. It must be a disease. We must have ADHD. Quick, take a pill. That'll solve it. And we take this for granted because, it's the way that everybody operates. Like, when's the last time you were sitting in a waiting room or standing in a line at the grocery store and everybody else in the line was just waiting there without staring at their phones? When's the last time you yourself waited anywhere without staring at your phone? Most of us are so desperate to be distracted that we even look for other things to distract us while we're piloting a 3,000-pound hunk of metal down the road at 70 miles an hour. It's how we're wired, or it's rather, I should say, it's how we have been rewired. Because it may come as a shock, but prior to the advent of cell phones and computers, people would spend significant portions of their day with nothing in particular to distract them. They would wait in lines and just wait. They would sit in waiting rooms and just sit there. Here's the thing that will really blow you away, especially if you're a younger person who's only ever known the cell phone age. You're not going to believe this, but this is real. Sometimes, back in the old days, a person would even sit on the couch in their living room and just sit there. Like they would partake merely in the activity of existence. Here's another mind-bending fact. Back in the old days, when a person woke up in the morning, they would not immediately reach for something to distract them. They would just wake up. That's it. They would just wake up. Now you're awake now. They would situate themselves into the waking world again. They would be where they are. They would not try to dive headfirst immediately into a million places where they aren't. This is how it used to be. And sure, back in those days, you might read a book, you might look at a newspaper, you might watch TV or something. You might, God forbid, actually engage with another human being who's physically in the room with you. But nobody was carrying a book or a newspaper or a TV around with them everywhere they went 24/7 and filling every single available second by looking at it. This is the kind of thing people only do with smartphones. So before smartphones, nobody did anything like that. And there's really a lot to recommend that way of life. There are so many benefits of doing nothing. And the greatest benefit of all is that nothing isn't nothing. You can do so much while you do nothing. A moment of nothing can be filled with countless somethings because these moments are an opportunity to use your brain, to let your mind wander, to daydream, to think, to reflect. Not to have your thoughts guided and steered and pointed this direction and that by algorithms. No, when you do nothing, your mind directs itself. And, thinking is, it turns out, a lot of fun. You should try it every once in a while. And you should be able to entertain yourself with your own thoughts. In fact, that's why I relish being on a plane when I have nothing to do, because it gives me that chance to do so much while I'm doing nothing. There's so much thinking I get to do. And hopefully nobody there to interrupt it. Now, if you look at somebody sitting in a chair, thinking, not doing anything, and you're shocked and confused, right? If you can't even believe that a person could possibly sit in one place for more than 30 seconds and not do anything, then that says something about you. If you cannot even conceive of entertaining yourself with your own thoughts, if you do not find the act of thinking, of reflection, to be absorbing, even exhilarating, then you are deficient as a human being. You have lost one of the essential traits that makes you human. You have allowed this digital age of distraction to eat that part of you, consume it, so that there's nothing left. The internet has made it so that people are incapable of doing things. But even worse, it's made it so that people are incapable of not doing things. They can't even do nothing successfully. And those people are really missing out, I have to say. And that is why those who never raw dog in life, and also those who use the phrase raw dog, except for me just now, are all today canceled. Thanks for checking out this video. If you'd like to listen to my full podcast on the go, you can check out The Matt Walsh Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.